And so today we're going to go into one of my personal stories. We're going to talk about the first time I was ever placed in a real OA position, which was in Santa Clara County Jail in 2002 when I was about 24 years old, I think I was. Let me see, yeah, 24 years old. Now, I just came off the streets. I was under the Salinas Regiment. The regiment commander I was reporting to was Wino. I was also safeguarding the Carnal Huicho out there from San Juan, which is how I caught my case. The night before I got arrested, I was talking to Wino and I was supposed to meet up with him the next day. But I ended up getting caught up. And so I get to the county jail. First, they put me in the 6th floor in an observation cell, just for temporary so they can move me to the 4th floor. And there was a trustee there named Ruben Garcia Cuete from San Juan. This dude was supposed to be a head hermano for a long time. But this dude did not even, he came at me for 1 second and he never came back. And eventually I think he went to PC. You know, at first I knew he was there, so I was trying to make contact and see if I could get some type of assistance. Nada. So eventually I go from the 6th floor. Oh, I call my ex-wife at the time. And she tells me everything that's been going on in code. She goes, man, they've been on me. This is the whole situation with Huicho when they hit my mom's house. They followed her. She had to sign over custody of my daughter at the time to my mom and whatnot. And they hadn't caught him yet, Huicho. And I think by the second phone call, she told me that they got him, that he was caught slipping and so forth. So I eventually get moved to 4B, right? The pod number 2. And in that pod, you had Thumper from Eastside Hoods, Gilbert Maldonado, who was actually on the no good list for a minute, based upon Mark Rodriguez. Bad call anyways, for improper statements in grand jury during the Brown Bob murder. Okay. Next pod over, you had Michael Hell, Dante from Oakland. Another individual, deemed no good in the D facility dilemmas. And I'll get into what happened with him. And then the other pod, you had a youngster named Flaco from Gilroy, who was left as in charge of 4B at the time. So immediately I start bumping heads. Program I don't feel is up to par and whatnot, man. And I've been in rigorous environments. You know, the Corcoran Shoe, San Quentin 6 Yard, and so forth, man. That I had a lot more higher expectations of how the 4th floor used to operate. So, but I kicked on back. I get a message from Huicho telling me to play my position. He got moved from 4B to 4C, right? And eventually they moved him to Little Max. So in the process of that happened, he had to leave Sleepy from Meadow Fair, who was a Northerner in charge. Okay, so what happened with all this was a lot of these dudes were giving me fucking little headaches, right? Power tripping a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it was, but I just played my position. You know what I mean? I was trying to correct a lot of things without being the one that was out there on Front Street. Eventually, Danny Nichols gets there. And Danny Nichols seen everything that I was talking about. He's a long-time, old-school head hermano. And me and him naturally started clicking. So somehow they moved me from B-pod into A-pod. Well, I forgot how the pods were, right? And this is with Dante. Now, Dante's over there. Wessels from Los Locos over there. And later on, Carlos Roman comes. Now, Dante was so petty and strict, man, that it was fucking, we used to call him ludicrous, right? Me, Jerry, and fucking Carlos Roman. This is when Carlos had those issues with Smurf in the county jail, and Dancing Bear eventually cleared Carlos Roman. So we'd be in the vent. And administration hated me over there, man. They hated me like with a passion, man, because I covered my shit up. I would talk shit. You know what I mean? All kinds of stuff, right? So we're there. My book comes from the other pod. Fucking Dante wants to see to check if anything's in it. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with this dude, man? And his whole fucking demeanor was just different. You know, I was bypassing all these dudes and I was getting at the dudes over there, Huicho and shit, right? Huicho and Chuco. Chuco actually eventually wrote me a letter, and I'll tell you how that happened. So Sleepy comes up to me. He's asking me for advice. He knows who I am and whatnot. He's an old school Northerner, been around for a minute, but never ever had no leadership qualities. So when he leaves, he's happy. He leaves the county jail to me, right? Immediately I went to work. And everybody's demeanor changed because they know I remembered how people were acting when I first got there when I was trying to implement what was supposed to be expected. But I didn't really change my course of direction. You know, I just brought everything up to par a little bit. There was a couple people that owed money regarding the streets. I sent a we left to Chuco, and then I get a letter from Chuco. And what Chuco did was he wrote a letter to a fake address, right? And put my name in it. And everything came back Tonito. That was his code name. Now, by then, I had visits going from, I was getting visits, and I had a female that was going to visit Huicho. So therefore, directives were being sent back and forth between me to Chuco. And that's how Casper from Capitol Park got deemed no good, because I ran into him in going to court, and I found out where he was at. So next thing you know, here comes a filter I get that, you know, the Chuco deemed Casper no good based upon the fact of for red on red and for disrespecting the NF because of our presence there. In addition to that, it said that what's his name? Gilbert Maldonado was to be placed on freeze and under investigation. A lot of that had to do with Mark Caja Rodriguez, who deemed him no good and who eventually had flipped. So everything's going cool. I remember Junior Rojas comes in, you know what I'm saying? Long time Hermano, and he was in the pod, and he gets a report from this dude about some dude named Steve DeFranco, boxer, right? From Eastbound Mob. And he sends it to me. And he sends me the copy of the police report. And in the copy of the police report, the dude's making improper statements. And then there was different hoods, different homeboys involved. And he's sending this to his homeboy. And when he wrote on the kite, he said, "At least I didn't tell on you." You know what I'm saying? He didn't say much, but we're like, Junior said Junior said the kite, said he didn't say much, but he's a fucking rat. And I looked at it and I'm like, you know what, man? I'm gonna have him physically removed and see what his reaction would be. If he comes back and tries to clean it up, we'll go from there. So I said that's my first removal I actually really called. Besides the other ones I was actually involved in. So I called Steve DeFranco, boxer from Eastbound Mob's removal. And they ended up doing it, and he ends up going to PC. And at the same time, this is when I ran into that dude Richard Sanchez, Smiley, who went from 4B pod or the third pod into Brown. And that's when me and Boxer hit him up later on the streets. So at that time, you know, everything is starting to get up to par. You know, it was a learning experience. The communications were hard. And so I get moved because I'm getting into it with a classification officer, Miss Calderon. Oh, she hated me. She hated me with a passion, man. You know what I mean? And so she moved me out the pod from 4B over to 4C now. So I go over there and I go over there to take over this spot. And that's when I found out about Kiki from Gilroy, right? About how he was abusing his authority and how he was never been in prison, but he was misusing things. So immediately I fucking stripped him of his position, and I think it was for about fucking two weeks. Every pod time he had to go in front of the TV and do 1,500 jumping jacks. Okay, so we're starting to get things up to par a little bit in that section now, because they were lacking. I already know what's going on over here. Okay, I gave directives to Jerry Westos what to do, who to put in charge. I said we'll just go from there. So when I get over there, we're having this black dude who's a Damu named C, who had disrespected Dancing Bear. Now he's starting to disrespect us, right? Now we had a whole bunch of homeboys in our pod. We had a group of homeboys, and they were all first termers. You know what I mean? So we had Flaco from fucking Sanjo from the west side, who just came from High Desert. The homie, what's his name? Bam Bam from Sanjo. You know, there was a bunch of homeboys, man. The other pods were a little bit less in numbers. Guess who shows up for the first time? Jesse Ibarra. Moreno from Watsonville, also known as Lucifer. His real AKA would be Moreno. He took the name Lucifer later on. So me and him start to connect, right? And I'm starting to do an evaluation of him because I don't know him, but I'm seeing that he has some skills and stuff. So we just started communicating, man. I started finding out a little bit about his case, why he was there. He was in there facing a hot one. And I'm not going to talk about anything that between me and him that would raise any type of red flags. I like Lucifer. He was fucking solid. That's my homie right there. And he had came from Santa Cruz County because he was getting off of cops, kicking off the doors, and fucking, getting busy. They transferred him from Santa Cruz County to Santa Clara County to be held in our county jail, and they were taking him to court from there. I shit you not, man. And you know, we started to get to know each other, and we wanted to remove on this dude's seat, this Damu guy. So Lucifer volunteered to do it, but he never got around to get to do it because he says he could pop the door open. And see, back then we used to be able to push our door shut and hide in the shower, but a couple times we tried, we got caught up, and pretty much it tipped our hand. Eventually, he started JCatting out, kicking the doors and whatnot, and broke the lock on his door and got sent out of there, man. And so, you know, at that time, it was really hard in that county jail to communicate. The cops were on everything. We used to make these long old postes, and you'd have to hang off the fucking rail and go through this little hole in the corner and put your wheels in and slide through and hope the cop doesn't catch it. Then we used to put the kites in the remote control, because there's one remote control for every TV. Had to fucking hide that shit. Hopefully that the fucking cops wouldn't find it out. Then we also had the fucking yard, right? Where there was a little key slot. We put the kite inside the key slot back then. Eventually these cops started finding everything out later on. But while I was there, we didn't really get caught with as much stuff. But it was very fucking off the hook, man. And the other races, man, they had a hard time adapting to what we were trying to enforce there, because one or two guys, they wouldn't understand. They'd be fucking putting us out there on Front Street, what we were doing, man. And see, like, every pod would be like 10, 12 homeboys. You know, they were just taking homeboys left and right. And I was getting into it with some of the rookie correctional officers. Like, I had a mouth on me back then because you weren't going to disrespect me. And so they'd write me up for everything, and then they take my fucking canteen. They take all that shit from me all the time. So I'd have to get my shit, and I'd have to pass it to the homeboys because I already knew that they were going to take my shit. My glasses broke. They'll think I wear glasses, right? And this new CO comes up to me, and he has this and this, right? And he goes, "This is a violation of fucking whoa. This is contraband." I said, "You know, what am I supposed to do with this?" I said, "Man, you can just stick it up your fucking ass." And he just was fucking shocked. The other OG cops came up in the pod afterwards and said, "Man, why are you giving our guy a hard time?" I'm like, "Man, you know what I'm saying? I'm just here trying to do my time. You guys keep on fucking with me. It is what it is." You know, so I became a hot boy in the county. I mean, I was, everybody knew what I was doing. And I think I was a little bit egotistic and a little bit overconfident. You know what I mean? Because I was young. You know what I'm saying? I knew what I needed to do, but I kind of liked the recognition of showing people that I knew what I was doing. So I was taking a lot of people under the wing, and my schooling was really up to par at that time. At that time, I'd been around a lot of C's, kicked it with a lot of C's on the streets, functioned under a lot of C's, been in the mix, held positions on the streets. So I was starting to, you know what I mean, grasp things of what things were really about, and my schooling was really up to par. So I was confident. I've always been a confident dude. Anybody that's done time with me tell you that I'm no slouch, man. I say what I feel, and I don't back down from shit. Political, we can go bar for bar when it comes to that. And that's the type of person I was. And my writing skills were even better. So eventually, man, I'm trying to get to Little Max. Because Weeks was down there, Chuco's down there, and they're in a small little section with 4 people. But I can't abandon my position. But I'm being requested down there. Right? Now, some other stuff happened in the county jail at that time, out there in Elmwood, where some shit happened with some Africanos, right? Some Clipas, right? Where I sent word for them to take off on them because something happened over here in the other jail. Now, our communication with Chuco, right, was through a dude named Smokey from the South Side. Trying to think of his name, man. I ended up running him into him over there in Quinton. You had him, you had Baby G, all these cats I knew that were young. That some of them are now C's now, but they were basically young-headed monos at the time. So, you know, these are the dudes that would be utilized to help me communicate over there with Chuco because they were in the snake pits. I get my kites over there through Levi Court. They would go to visit, and the kites would be passed. When you were coming back from court, Chuco would be basically in the visiting room. And there's a way where you start to go up the stairs in the hallway. There's no cops. You pass the wheels in. That's how communications were being established. You know what I'm saying? As well as through the trustees as well. But eventually, what ended up happening was, like I said, after the removal over there that happened over there in Elmwood, and then the other one happened in the old jail, which I sent word over there in Siberia because the one dude that was fucking, there was one dude that had did something over there in Elmwood to the homeboys. He was over in the pod and he was trying to bully homeboys again. I sent word for fucking one homeboy to go up in there and then fucking smashing on him. It ended up happening. They ended up jumping on the dude. So they knew they knew I called 2 removals, which were racial. You know what I'm saying? And it was nothing personal. A lot of these dudes were coming into the county jail not realizing that Santa Clara County Jail, the North Daniels are going to respect everybody, black, whites, whatever. But you're not going to come in and try to dictate your will upon any North Daniel in that county jail. It doesn't matter, you're black, white, Mexican, whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be consequences for that. So eventually, I think it was what, man, about shit, 2:30 in the morning, I wake up. I get kidnapped. I have fucking 12 fucking cops around me, right? Shit you not, man. 12 fucking cops around me to fucking get me to the Lomax. And fucking, I'm like half asleep and shit. But at that time, all my filters, my bundles, I slept with everything put away. Never left nothing out. Because I was that hot. I didn't know where they were taking me. They take me to Little Joe, the Little Max. Next thing you know, hey, what's your name? I tell them, fucking, what the fuck you doing over here? It was fucking Chuco. You know what I mean? Start communicating with him. Then Huicho gets moved over. And this is when Chuco told me that Huicho, that Brass had deemed Huicho no good. And that he pretty much got caught up in whoa. He kind of liked Huicho. And he told me that if we got to yard, he's going to take off on him. You know what I'm saying? Do what he has to do. Because they were talking about putting us all out there in group yard. The other dude that we had there was an Asian dude named D, who was facing a death penalty case, man. And so before that would be me, D, and Chuco. We were busting down every day, burpees. You know what I'm saying? One of us would call it out. We never watched TV. We didn't turn the TV on until about 3 o'clock. You know, there was no collection, none of that stuff, right? Because I was set to bail out anyways. So Huicho gets over there, and he sends me a kite. And that Chuco gave him permission for me to take to the streets. You know, it's because Huicho was tipped off that he was deemed no good. And this was one of the craziest fucking kites I've ever seen. He says, first of all, that he found out from a female that was riding Junior Rojas that Junior told him not to talk to Huicho. He's all bad. So when the Clayton was telling them that. So Huicho puts out the kite and he says, why is this information being given to North Daniels? He goes, if I'm to be got, I'm to be got the NF way. And this business isn't for North Daniels to be fucking speaking on. He was pissed off about it. You know. And from there he goes into that he's going to pay $25,000 by December 24th or declare him the enemy. It was just fucking a whole bunch of crazy fucking, you know what I'm saying, shit, man. So I was all right, I'll get it to where it needs to go. You know what I mean? But when I read the fucking kite, I was like, oh shit. He ends up leaving to San Quentin. The case that he was in was an attempted carjacking. The suspect was gone, right? The victim. The victim was in Mexico. Now, without going into too much details, this is where my wife had a big assistance in this part because she spoke Spanish. And these people were, you know what I mean? Didn't speak no English, they were from Mexico. So she went over there and actually talked to people, and this was requested by the Carnales when they were over there in Ojo. So I told you, my wife not only kept it solid, she would also, you know, if something was requested and it wasn't nothing really illegal, she would go take care of it. And they knew it would get done, and she wouldn't even gossip or tell nobody about it. So that happened. Now, so I'm there for about 10, 11 months, man. And I'm set to bail out. And this is a funny part about this story, and this is a fucking true story, and he's probably going to put me on the fucking hit list after I say this, right? So, I'm supposed to bail out, right? They come up to me, we just get done busting down burpees, right? And they come to tell me that I'm leaving, right? Hurry up, they're going to come get me in 5 minutes. I'm like, oh shit. So Chuco says, man, he goes, send me all the fucking clothes, right? I go, bro, I'm all sweaty, right? He goes, I haven't had a chance to wash them. He goes, don't trip, just put them in a plastic bag and I'll wash them. So I sent over my fucking dirty boxers and socks, right? All this shit, right? That I was wearing right now. As well as the new stuff, right? And so Chuco's over there fucking, he has to wash, she's over there washing the shit. He goes, man, you haven't left yet. They came back and they said, your pro hold has not lifted your hold, you're staying. So fucking Chuco had to send me back my clothes, bro. And he tells me on the fucking wire, he goes, man, I can't believe that I just washed another man's fucking boxers and socks and have to send them back. And I was giving him a hard time fucking after that, man. Yeah, Chuka was cool, man. You know, I know, and despite all the different rumors and speculation, which I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to speak on it. I heard something yesterday, and, and that, you know what I mean? I heard something yesterday. I'll tell you guys right now. I'm not going to say anything, yes or no on anything, man. But where there's smoke, there's a fire sometimes, is all I'm going to say. You know, but Chuka was a cool dude, man. He just, from third party information that I'm receiving, he changed once he got put into the position. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I guess they call him fucking what's the joke? There's something about him, no trigger finger about him, man. But Chuka was cool, man. Real charismatic, man. He used to like to read wizard books and books like that, sorcerer books, and he said it helped him gain deceptive tactics and how to lead and how to, you know what I mean? It was something kind of totally different, man. And he taught me a little bit of things, man, that were just fucking out, that were just straight up truths. Like when I talked to him about goose flipping, right? They were close. Him and Goose were close, man. Real close. And he goes, well, you know, he told me like this. He goes, look, he goes, we expect it to happen. He goes, we know that there's going to be those that drop out, that are carnas, bros, whatever. We know that there's going to be those that end up testifying. He goes, but our whole focal point is this. Let's use them for as long as we can and get the most out of them before they do. He goes, this is my life. I'm doing life behind the walls. This is all I have. So this is my world. So this is what I have to live by. And that's how he told me. He goes, he explained it in a sense that, he goes, it's just like how the Norteños program on the same yard with the Africanos. There's no alliance, but it's a camouflage for our activities. He was explaining the same thing of everybody else. It's a camouflage for those that truly are invested in the mob. Now, he wanted me to report to someone out there in the streets and function with them, even though I was getting out on bail. I told him I can't. I got to respect channels, and he respected it. But he gave me a kite, and I ended up meeting up with Weddle and dropped it off to Weddle and stuff, man. And you know, that was my extent in the county jail, which was a learning experience, man. It prepared me. I think by the next position that I ended up having, which is where my schooling was really starting to showcase, and the things that I learned from individuals, the leadership qualities were there. You know what I'm saying? And that came about 6 months later when I ended up taking over the RSD position over there in San Quentin, and basically was fucking running the whole fucking prison because the dude that was the interim RC was really sick, and with the meds were fucking him up because he was dying of cancer. So I was given authorization. I'll go into that story again, but I was given authorization when I was there to make any decisions, and he would back up anything I did. He trusted me because of all of the carnales that knew me. Anyways, this is a story of you know, Santa Clara County. There's a whole lot of other shit that I'm probably forgetting that happened. This was around 2002 to 2003. You know, I was there for like 11 months. 11 months. You know, they used to do that little, give you like 11 a year flat. So what they would do when you went to your Morrissey hearing, they would offer you like 11 months like it was a fucking deal and shit. And of course, you're going to fucking jump on it, man. But yeah, this is a story of the first time I became OA. You know, in San Luis Obispo, I did a similar thing, but there was no type of real structure, man. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. My schooling wasn't where it needed to be, you know? And I ended up doing a fucking removal over there. You mean, because no one trusted anybody. You know, I was like, fuck it, this dude's no good, I'm gonna fucking deal with it myself and shit, man. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on at that time, man. And, you know, fortunately, the only things I had to call was Boxer from Eastbound Mob's removal. And I wanted to get him back to the hole, you know what I'm saying, to see what he had to say about these claims he made on this paperwork. Improper statements he should have never been fucking made, which pretty much implicated that people were there when something happened, which led to them being charged. Just you acknowledging that you were with that person, that they existed there, is pretty much what got him removed. And the two scenarios with the Africanos, one in Elmwood and one in Siberia. Other than that, you know, there was a couple people that I had the one dude that was collecting money out there. I put him on freeze and told him to report, and sent word to Elmwood that I sent word to him that either he come in and put that 49er jersey on, or you're going to be wearing a Cleveland Brown jersey, which meant either you get your ass to the fucking fourth floor, or you're going to get PC'd up. Plain and simple. Sometimes you got to send those riddle codes out there like that. Anyways, man, this is a quick spiel, man. I just want, I got to get into a little bit more of my personal stories with you guys. There's some stuff that I really am hesitant to put out there that I don't think it's necessary because it involves too many people. So a lot of stuff I may put out there is stuff that may be public knowledge or it's not going to affect people. But anyways, I'm rambling on. It's your boy Flacco. I'm gone.